Hey guys, Luke C here. We're back here at the 1791 Gunleather booth at SHOT Show 2025. I'm with Mr. Justin Hoffman. We are talking about not leather today. We're talking about something else. You have a whole. This is brand new for me. So why don't you tee it up? Because I'll screw it up no matter what.
Right on, man. So what we're doing here at SHOT Show is we're not just launching a new product line. We're actually unveiling a new brand or a sub-brand underneath the 1791 umbrella called 1791 Industries.
Okay.
What we are doing with this brand is we are bringing to market hard goods. Now, to kind of lead up, when you think of an ultralight AR, what do you think of, or what comes to mind?
A lot of skeletonized parts, possibly magnesium, a lot of polymer, typically non-metals.
Yep, carbon fibers, things like that.
Yeah.
Yep. So that to me doesn't scream duty rifle. That seems like sporting rifle,
competition
right?
rifle.
Yep. Yep. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to be able to create an actual fighting rifle that was inside of the weight class it was designed to be within. And what I mean by that is this. In World War II, the M1 Garand weighed about 9 pounds, right? But that was a full power 30-06 battle rifle cartridge, right? And then fast forward to Vietnam, we have the M16, 20-inch barrel, 7 pounds. And then fast forward to the CAR-15, we had a 16-inch barrel with that fixed carry handle, looks super sexy, and that weighed 6 pounds, right? And then comes the global war on terror. In order to increase soldier lethality, we started adding optics and lights and lasers to this thing, and before you know it, that rifle weighs 8.5, 9 pounds. I know that from personal experience. My service rifle was a Mark 18 Mod 0. It weighed 8.5 pounds. So that's why I built this setup particular. This setup in particular is essentially a Mark 18. I have an optic, I have irons, I have my Surefire light on there, I have a little hand stop. You go ahead and hold that.
So this whole setup here, wow, that is very light.
That weighs 6 pounds.
So this is with a standard lower, right?
Yep.
It's a standard billet or forged aluminum lower.
Yeah, we're doing lower receivers. We just didn't have them ready for SHOT Show. Once we put our lower on here, this rifle becomes less than 6 pounds.
Now, what is the material that is being used here? Because you've been leading up to it.
Yep.
Now, what is the material?
It's a magnesium nanoparticle alloy. So all that gibberish means is the principal metal used in it is magnesium. However, there are other materials added to it at the nanoparticle level, and actually each magnesium particle is actually surrounded at the nanoparticle level with a ceramic composite. What that does is it increases the hardness and the tensile strength while allowing us to maintain a weight class that is 33% lighter than aluminum.
So your handguard here and your upper receiver are 30% lighter than your typical 7075 T6 aluminum.
And it's stacking tolerances. I mean, if you want it lighter, sub out more parts. Like I said, if I put our lower on there, we're less than 6 pounds as a fighting rifle. With optic, with your irons, with your flashlight, and that to me, like an intermediate range fighting rifle, should weigh like 6 or 7 pounds.
Right, lightweight, nimble. Yeah. Now let's talk about the material. Is certainly lightweight, right? Mm-hmm. And you talked about its strength. What's the strength comparable to?
So there are a lot of various grades of Magnite that we can use, just like there are various grades of aluminum that can be used. For instance, usually handguards are made out of 6061 T6. That's not because that's the best material to use. That's specifically because that's easier to extrude. Then you can't really.
From a manufacturing standpoint, it gets spun out. Yeah.
So we actually, when we first started doing our testing, we've done mil-810 or mil-STD-810 drop testing, which basically includes taking the rifle and dropping it various times from 48 inches onto concrete to see how the material performs. That actually yielded really meaningful results for us because it made us go back to formula on that first test.
Okay.
The first version of Magnite that we used, it was MN3100. It was just a little bit too soft, and it caused a zero shift. Okay. So we subbed out to a harder grade Magnite that is still extrudable. And then we were able to get up to basically the strength of exceeding 6061 T6, but still 33% lighter than aluminum. So
okay, so you're about the same strength, if not better than aluminum, while being lighter. Now, what about heat dissipation and accumulation?
Perfect.
This is a very lightweight material, right? So that's going to be a natural. It's going to build up heat very much.
I like that question because I have a really good answer. So
I like good answers.
On top of doing mil-STD-810 drop testing, we've also done an excessive amount of machine gun rate of fire destructive testing.
Okay.
I built out several upper receivers. I put them on a registered machine gun lower receiver, and I fired them until they stopped working. One of the tests, actually one of the first tests, I got up to 878 rounds at machine gun rate of fire. Everything was so hot. The gas tube was glowing red hot. The barrel itself was glowing red hot. It was sagging like a sad hot dog, and under fire it was doing this. And that actually ended up making a squib load, and then the barrel burst. But in none of those instances was I able to create an unsafe condition with my material. In fact, the handguard was so hot that I started my lead sled on fire.
Oh wow! So it transferred enough heat into the lead sled to make it burst into flames.
Aluminum will do the same exact thing, but the main thing is that the material didn't fail. Right. It didn't create an unsafe condition.
Okay. So you've got. I mean, it's basically just a lighter, slightly more rigid replacement for aluminum, and the weight savings is actually pretty significant. Though, just you showing me those two examples of the handguards it's instantly noticeable.
Yeah.
So with this new material, are you guys opening up a whole new firearms line?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys are going to be doing serialized parts, firearms and all that. Yes. So can I buy these parts a la carte though?
Yes. So the whole plan to start off with it is like we're in the final processes of setting up our FFL. Once we have our FFL in place, we'll be doing lower receivers as well. We already have the design done. I've already been doing testing on it. So the plan is to offer a la carte parts. I also intend to offer complete upper receivers available on the website because I know a lot of dudes that want to build their own rifle. Right. They push two pins together. That's fine. Like I've done the same thing. No biggie.
Somewhat build. And
then come, I would say, fall or winter of this year, the desired end state, what we're marching towards is being able to offer complete firearms.
Complete firearms hopefully by the end of the year.
Yep. Hopefully by the end of the year, armored by us. We're working through the logistics of that now.
So for the upper receiver and the handguard, what's the timeline for that?
So all of the small ancillary parts like upper receiver, handguard, even the lower receiver, M-lock hand stop, charging handle, all the main stuff. We also have an AK handguard.
Oh yeah, you do.
All that stuff we're working towards getting that available come March 1st. So.
Okay.
And like again, the whole reason why we don't have it all available right now is because of the intensive testing that we've been doing to make sure that this is going to be good to go. Because this kind of technology, it's not novel to the world, but it is novel to the gun culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone else using this.
When I say it's not novel to the world, our partner that we're working with on the metallurgical science and engineering side, they have contracts with DoD, and they're actually using these materials on the nose cone for re-entry vehicles that go through the atmosphere.
Oh wow! So this is the not the aero and the space industry essentially.
Yes.
Okay,
that's why when I say space age metallurgy, it's space age metallurgy.
So space age metallurgy. How much are your first few offerings going to set me back online?
I would say you're going to be comparable to like the higher end of the market, but it's not unobtainable.
Okay.
Like our AK handguard is $250, and then all of our AR-15 handguards. They vary by length, ranging from like 250 to 2.25 to 200, depending on length, how much metal there is. Basically.
And that's like you said, that's fairly typical for like your competition grade, like super lightweight handguards that are like almost boutique items at that point. So this is going to be a standard off-the-shelf item for 1791 arms, right?
Yep, 1791 Industries.
1791 Industries. Okay, yeah. Well, that's cool, Justin. This is unprecedented. This is what I like about SHOT Show. You come here expecting a few new releases, and then you get material science lessons on the floor. So thank you so much for showing us these. Guys, stay tuned. Go ahead and check out 1791 Gunleather for more of these. Actually, 1791 Industries, right? Is that a whole new website?
Yep, 1791industries.com.
Cool. So check out their website and stay tuned to TFBTV and TFBTV Showtime for more from SHOT Show 2025.